Choreb Beruach, Sword of the Spirit. Interpreted and narrated by Wendy. Jaqara, Leviticus, chapter 10. And Yahuwah spoke to Moshe and Aharon, saying to them, Speak to the children of Yisrael, saying, These are the beasts which you will eat among all the beasts that are on the earth. Whatever parts the hoof and is cloven-footed, chewing the cud among the beasts, that you may eat. However, these you will not eat, those that chew the cud, or those that divide the hoof. The camel, because it chews the cud, but does not divide the hoof, it is unclean to you. And the rock horax, because it chews the cud, but does not divide the hoof, it is unclean to you. And the hare, because it chews the cud, but does not divide the hoof, it is unclean to you. And the swine, although it divides the hoof and is cloven-footed, yet it does not chew the cud, it is unclean to you. From their flesh you will not eat, and their carcass you will not touch. They are unclean to you. These you will eat of all that are in the waters. Whatever has fins and scales in the waters, in the seas, and in the rivers, you may eat them. However, all that does not have fins and scales in the seas, and in the rivers, of all that moves in the waters, and of all living things that are in the waters, they are unnatural to you. Therefore, they are abominations to you. You will not eat of their flesh. Thus, their carcasses are unnatural to you. Whatever has no fins nor scales in the waters are unnatural to you, and of these you will restrict from among the fowl. They will not be eaten. They are unnatural. The eagle, and the vulture, and the buzzard, and the falcon, and the kite after its kind, every raven after its kind, and the ostrich, and the short-eared owl, and the seagull, and the hawk after its kind, and the little owl, and the cormorant, and the great owl, and the screech owl, and the jackdaw, and the carrion vulture, and the stork, the heron after its kind, and the hoopoe, and the bat. All flying things that creep, going upon all four, are unnatural to you. Yet these you may eat of every creeping thing that goes upon all four, which have legs upon their feet, to leap with upon the earth. These are those which you may eat. The locust after its kind, and the bald locust after its kind, and the cricket after its kind, and the grasshopper after its kind. But all flying creeping things which have 4 feet will be unnatural to you, and for these you will be unclean. Whoever touches the carcass of them will be unclean until the evening, and whoever carries their carcass will wash their clothes and be unclean until the evening. Every beast which divides the hoof, but is not cloven-footed, nor chews the cud, are unclean to you. Everyone who touches them will be unclean. And whatever goes upon its paws among all manner of beasts that go upon all 4, those are unclean to you. Whoever touches their carcass will be unclean until the evening. Therefore he who carries their carcass will wash his clothes and be unclean until the evening. They are unclean to you. Also, these are unclean to you among the creeping things that creep upon the earth. The weasel, and the mouse, and the tortoise after its kind, and the ferret, and the chameleon, and the sand reptile, and the sand lizard, and the mole. These are unclean to you among all that creep. Whoever touches them when they are dead will be unclean until the evening. Furthermore, whatever they fall upon when they are dead, it will be unclean. Whether it is a wooden vessel, or raiment, or skin, or sack, whatever vessel in which work is done, it must be put into water, and it will be unclean until the evening. Thus it will be cleansed. And every earthen vessel in which they fall, whatever is in it, it will be unclean, and you will break it. Of all food that is eaten, whatever it comes upon will be unclean. Also the drinks that are drunk in all the vessels will be unclean. Everything whereon their carcass falls will be unclean. The oven and ranges for pots, they will be broken down. They are unclean, and will be unclean to you. Nevertheless, a fountain or pit with plenty of water will be clean, but that which touches their carcass will be unclean. If a carcass falls upon any seed which is to be sown, it will be clean. But if water is upon the seed, and their carcass falls on it, it will be unclean to you. And of any beast of which you may eat dies, he who touches the carcass of it will be unclean until the evening. And he who eats its carcass will wash his clothes and be unclean until the evening. Also, he who carries the carcass will wash his clothes and be unclean until the evening. And every creeping thing that creeps upon the earth will be unnatural. It will not be eaten. Whatever goes upon the belly, and whatever goes upon all four, or whatever has more feet among all creeping things that creep upon the earth, those you will not eat, for they are unnatural. You will not make yourselves abominable with any creeping thing that creeps, nor will you make yourselves unclean with them, and become defiled by them. For I am Yahweh your Elohim. Therefore separate yourselves, and you will be holy, for I am holy. Nor will you defile yourselves with any manner of creeping thing that creeps upon the earth. For I am Yahweh, who brings you up out of the land of Mitzrayim, Egypt, to be your Elohim. Therefore you will be holy, for I am holy. This is the teaching of the beasts, and of the fowl, and of every living creature that moves in the waters, and of every creature that creeps upon the earth, to make a difference between the unclean and the clean, and between the beast that may be eaten and the beast that may not be eaten.